Well, welcome to www.happynumbers.org. This is going to be a continuation of our review of addition and subtraction of integers. And we'll be working with problems like this. So why don't you write this problem down and I'll work it with you. And then we'll put some new problems up for you to work with. So go ahead and copy it down. And let's take a look here. Well, we have here 16, take away 10, take away 2, take away 3. So if this is subtraction of integers, then we know that we have to actually add the opposite of the second number. So let's work just these two numbers first. So we have to rewrite the problem, 16. Now I'm going to add the opposite, so I'm adding the opposite of positive 10 is negative 10. So if I'm adding 16 plus a negative 10, I know the signs are different, so I take the smaller number away from the larger number. If I take 10 away from 16, I have 6, and I use the sign of the larger number, which is positive. So this expression becomes 6. So how I have 6 minus 2 minus 3. So now I'm going to work with this part of the expression. Well, I am subtracting, so I know I'm going to add the opposite of the second number. So 6 plus the opposite of 2 is negative 2. And 6 plus negative 2, I'm adding sign numbers. The signs are different. Forget the sign, take the smaller number away from the larger number. If I take 2 away from 6, I have 4. And I use the sign of the larger number, which is 6, which is positive. So this expression right here, this expression becomes 4. So now I have 4 minus positive 3. I know I add the opposite of the second number, so 4. Change that to an addition sign. The opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. 4 plus negative 3. I know I take the smaller number away from the larger number. If I take 3 away from 4, I get 1, and I use the sign of the larger number. So the answer is positive 1. Now let's look on the number line. Suppose I was at 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. So if I moved 10 in a negative way, 10, so it would be, and I would wind up at 6. And then from 6, if I moved in a negative 2, 1, 2, I would wind up at 4. And 4, if I moved in a negative 3, 1, 2, 3, I would wind up at 1. Well, okay, I'm going to put some problems up for you and give you a chance to work them. Let's see, we'll put up, let's do this one. And I'll put one more up for you. Okay, why don't you put the video or DVD on pause, work those problems, and then turn it back on, and then we'll go over them. Okay, let's take a look at this one. I'm going to deal with this part first. So I'm going to say 8, and I have to add the opposite of the second number. So 8 plus a negative 2, because that's a positive 2. Well, 8 plus a negative 2, I know will give me a positive 6. Because I take the smaller, I'm adding, and I take the smaller number away from the larger number. So if I take 2 away from 8, I have 6, and I use the sign of the larger number. So I know that'll give me 6. So now I have 6 minus 2 minus 2. Well, now I'm going to deal with this piece. And I'll work it over here. Okay, so I have 6 minus a positive 2. So I know I have to add the opposite, so it's plus a negative 2. And if I know if I'm adding a positive 6 and a negative 2, I take the smaller from the larger, so I take 2 away from 6, that gives me 4. And I use the sign of the larger number, which is 6, which is positive, so it'll be a positive 4. So now I've dealt with this part too, and so now I have positive 4 minus 2, and I know here that I'm going to rewrite it, positive 4 plus the opposite of 2, negative 2, and 6, I know I take the smaller from the larger, so if I take 2 away from 4, I get 2, and I use the sign of the larger, so my answer is positive 2. And if you look at the number line, if I start out at 8, I move in a negative way 2, 1, 2, I move again in a negative way 2, 1, 2, and then again in a negative way 2, 1, 2, I wind up at 2. Well, good. Let's try the next one. Actually, I'm going to rewrite it up here. 12 minus 7 minus 5 minus 4. Let's do this part first. 12, I have to change it to plus and use the opposite, which is negative 7. Now I have to add these, and I'm adding 2 signed numbers. The signs are different. Take the smaller from the larger. If I take 7 away from 12, I have 5, and I use the sign of the larger, which is positive. So this becomes positive 5. Now I have positive 5 minus 5 minus 4. Okay. I'm going to deal with this part of the problem. I'm going to rewrite it, 5, and I'm going to add the opposite, and I know that positive 5 plus negative 5 is 0. So this part of the problem becomes 0. And now I have 0 take away negative 4. Well, obviously, if I combine 0 and negative 4, I wind up with negative 4. So the answer is negative 4. Let's see how that works on a number line. If I have 12 and I move in a negative direction 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, I'm at 5, and then I move in a negative direction 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, that brings me to 0. And then I move in a negative direction 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it brings me to negative 4, and that is our answer. All right, I'm going to put one more up. Actually, yeah, I'll put one more up for us. Okay, put the video or DVD on pause and work the problem and then turn it back on again. All right, let's take a look. We'll deal with this part of the problem first, and it's subtraction, so I have to add the opposite of the second number, so 7. Change this to plus. The opposite of positive 7 is negative 7. And 7 plus negative 7, we know, gives us 0. So this part of the problem is 0, and so I have 0 minus 7 minus 7. Well, let's work with this part. 0 minus positive 7, so it'll be 0, plus the opposite of positive 7, which is negative 7. And 0 plus negative 7 would give me negative 7. 0, and if I go negative 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I get negative 7. So that part of the problem became negative 7. So I have negative 7 minus positive 7, and I know I have to add the opposite of the second number, so it would be negative 7. I have to add the opposite of the second number. Negative 7 plus negative 7, well, the signs are the same, so I just combine the two numbers and use the shared sign, and so the answer is negative 14. Well, there you go. That's our review of addition and subtraction. Hope to see you next time, and thank you very much.